cosmic, there's so many of them. We're honestly transcending even needing to know about chakras. Those are bite-sized pieces of information to understand how energy works, and eventually we bring it all back in so we don't have all these separated bodies where we're talking about separated bodies. We're talking about one channel of light. But here we are, for the sake of it, going back in and doing any last aspects of separated chakra work that we have left to go. And so we know that this is the root, and so we're going to say that this is connected. Some of you might know this type of understanding, but we're going to bring it in and connect it to the gene keys too. So this has to do with your 0 to 7-year-old time frame on the physical earth plane in this incarnation. And so a lot of it, in fact, I will read that eventually because I think that would be helpful. So 7 to 14, and this is the emotions. Your emotional body, your physical body, and then your mental body. And so what we're talking about here, if you could imagine that I'm giving you the codes to understanding because that's what you chose. Again, I want to bring this in that before you decided to incarnate into this physical form, you put your codes in. Oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. There's my shadows. And you might have even put codes twice, which is a good key for you. Because remember, we're stepping into I'm the creator of this hologram. And so you put these pieces and parts and this personality together for yourself and the things that would remind you how to find your way back home. And so, so we're looking first at the SQ sphere. This is your SQ. So wherever your SQ sphere is, which is going to be in the very center of your hologenetic profile, and I'll just show you again what that looks like. Because the other thing I want to point out that's interesting about the hologenetic profile, as they call it, is, let's see, do I have it here? If you look at it from the top, it's what I'd like to call like a pyramid. Well, it's just like this. It's shaped like that, and your activation sequence are the 4 main codes, and then you've got a little maze within here. And then this, the SQ, which is also called your love point, is what I like to call the capstone. So what we're looking to do is we're returning ourselves back to our original blueprint with no programming. But first we have to go back and kind of walk through the story of, I can see how I put this code here to program myself from 0 to 7 years old. So whatever your code is there will kind of give you some clues and information. So anyways, the SQ is in the very center, which is part of the, oh my God, I'm just not supposed to fuck with technology. This is the truth. This is not my thing. I might not be able to show you guys this information. Okay, here it is. So funny. Here you go. If I touch it, it's gonna pop. Okay, so your SQ is the one right in the center. That's your heart love point, and this is connected to 0 to 7 years old and how your physical body was formed. So if someone, and I'm saying this in case you guys are helping people in any way from a health perspective, if someone's having any kind of physical body health issues, I'm pretty certain that we could probably bring it down to their 0 to 7-year-old physical incarnation. Well, first of all, I will say this. Emotions are the reason for any of our physical problems. So I think we all are very aware of that, and we understand that emotions first and then physical things come out of that. So this is why we should start addressing those things, because one very important rule we can never forget is form follows frequency. So this is important also when you need to address or fix something, that if there's something wrong with the form, I'm not going to the form. I'm going to the frequency, because I'm recoding, rewriting something. I'm clearing something in my frequency so that the form then feeds me back something different, because the form always feeds you back 100% match without exception of what your hologenetic field is speaking. So now we're using our external reality instead of it being a drama. Now we're using it as information to help us remember how to use our inner mechanics of what I'd like to call the starship. We're turning on the starship technology. I don't want to get too cosmic for you yet. I'm trying to keep it down a level here, but as the wind is blowing, eventually we're turning on things like interdimensional travel, time travel, bilocating, being able to go from one place to another out of time and space. These are things that the human body is certainly able to do, but we've got to get through some old narratives that have kind of kept us in an underworld to start to play in these higher realms that I'm talking about, where we're really traversing the cosmos. So, I mean, like this one. Look at her. This is just a reminder that we know how to fly. If you've ever studied any anthropology, or if you go and look at old Egyptian tombs or Egyptian walls and things like that, you know, there's always the symbology of the wings. Yeah. They know and they remember, and they wrote those things in. And as we work with the Quetzalcoatl, what we're talking about, right, this is the plumed serpent. So this is the serpent nature. This is our lower aspects of the self. This is what I even like to call our human. Mm-hmm. This is our God self. And for some reason, for a long time, we've been playing out this interesting story where we think they're separate. And so we're looking to merge and bring the God self down into the physical body. To me, that's what ascension actually is. We are ascending up, but then we're bringing it back down. This is kind of even how the flow of this works. So the idea is that we have a lot of magical information up in here in the higher planes of our higher chakras. Obviously, we can see here the heart is the highway of this information coming down into the body. And the heart can't open fully, whereas the heart constricted or restricted, until we've healed these aspects of the self, which are the physical, emotional, and the mental body. So that's why we go here and we do this, and we utilize the energies of this month to really support us in doing any kind of opening up of the heart, cleaning up of old histories that are stored in the body, so that we can become fully embodied on this earth plane and start to bring the mastery codes that I'm talking about here, the magic that you have inside you that has not been turned on yet, but is going to be turned on. As soon as we leave the stories behind, karma, which we're no longer a victim to, we leave these stories behind, we unlock the gates. What I like to say, the gates of our heart that have kept us from fully opening the love, the gates of heaven. So we leave the stories behind, the karmic blueprint. This is karma. We're no longer a victim of a karma story. We're able to stop playing it whenever we're ready. If we're still saying anything about, well, my mom, someone told me the other day, she said, you know, bless my mom's heart, she just didn't know how to cook, and so I'm just eating bad food because my mom didn't know how to cook well when I was younger. I'm just giving you an example of a story here, and yours might not be as silly, but we have stories like that about what our moms and dads have done that made us the way we are, and these are lies and limitations. And so it takes a healing of the mother wound and a responsibility to own everything about us and not blame it on our mothers and fathers. You know, I had a friend tell me, my mom never talked to me about sex. Well, neither did mine. She didn't know what to tell me. I'm not holding it against my mother. She's doing the best that she could. So we're letting all the characters in our drama off the line, in case we are holding any resentments to anyone about what they didn't do for us. We're going ahead and we're clearing that one. That'll clear you and it'll clear them. And this is how we actually heal lineages and heal our ancestral line and heal our families. And it's beyond ever having to have a conversation with the mother or the father or anybody else about it. And this work that we're talking about, again, remember that what you're doing is planetary. So when we heal any old stories within the self, we're removing chunks of old histories that have kept us from ascending. Okay, so we're clearing the karma. This is the serpent nature. We're learning how to embrace the dark side, embrace the nature, embrace the design, the human design of ourselves, and what's happened to us in our lives to unlock the gates so that the higher aspects can now come in, because it wasn't time before and it's time now. In fact, the book is open right now to the release code of higher consciousness. So you could imagine it was a code that's now being released, and it wasn't time until it was time, and now is the time that this new code is being released out into the genes, and that we can even perceive, achieve, and work with this information. Okay, so then SQ, then we've got your EQ,